The Secret Agent is a story of government repression and corruption, but told in this very slow, unfolding, meandering way that then culminates in a really great action sequence. It's incredibly masterfully well told. I believe it was the premiere at Cannes last year. It has hit every single branch on the way down of the festival circuit. It's a brilliant film. Highly recommend you watch it. Begonia is a Yorgos Lanthimos film. I have beef with Yorgos Lanthimos. It's a long story. Basically, Begonia is a remake of a film called Save the Green Planet, where a guy alien has come to Earth or some kind of thing or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, Emma Stone's character is played by a guy in the original. I think the original was probably also better. I don't know, I haven't watched it, but everyone tells me it was better. Begonia does not stand on its own 2 feet. Changes to gender aside, the story, the actual path of the story as told, and the implications that each character has within the narrative, specifically conspiracy theory, right-wing, left-wing thought, 99% versus the 1%, does not hold up to scrutiny in this version. I don't think it should be on the list for Best Picture. I think this is the spot that should have been given to Testament of Anne Lee. Marty Supreme is a film by Josh Safdie, not Benny Safdie, and in case you're trying to remember which one's the good one and which one's the bad one, it was Josh that kind of let the abuse happen that one time on that set. So Josh is the not so great one, the one with more controversy that people believe broke up the two. But Smashing Machine was not great, and that was Benny's. Marty Supreme was pretty bloody good. I'm not interested in either of these Safdie brothers. I've never liked a Safdie brothers film in my life until this one. This one was good. It doesn't excuse abuse, but it was good. It was good. It was good. It was a solid story about American ambition, and it exists in this kind of international space post-1950s. So, yeah, I liked it. It won't pull its weight against the others. Train Dreams is a very quiet film. I watched it on Netflix, so I didn't watch it in a big cinema. But it is a quiet, meandering kind of Bildungsroman of this one guy. It's this kind of guy across his life. It didn't move me. It felt a little bit stilted. It felt a bit like it was trying to tell a parable of a guy's story across time that felt a little bit heavy-handed for the modern era. And yeah, I don't see it holding up to scrutiny against things like The Secret Agent, Hamnet, and Sinners. These were very, very strong, robust narratives that were really masterfully made. Train Dreams is a very beautiful film, though, and I think that's probably why it made it into Best Picture. Formula One is a film about Formula One racing. It has Brad Pitt in it. It's not good. This is the spot, I think, that everyone wants to have been given to Sorry Baby. And that's about all the airtime I'm going to give to Formula One. Sinners is an original blockbuster from Ryan Coogler. It is the reason we are going to save cinema. It is incredibly rich and detailed, not just as a narrative, but visually. And the performances across a very, very large ensemble cast are all impeccable. The music is iconic. It will be played for years and years and years to come and be the inspiration for many people to become composers themselves. No doubt. It is likely to win Best Picture. Everyone's saying it could be one battle after another. I really think that Sinners, just off the basis of the fact that it is so well considered among the filmmaking community, might just win. Frankenstein is an adaptation of the Frankenstein novel by Guillermo del Toro, a passion project of the directors. It is very, very well made. It was made in Toronto. Everything was made by a person. Everything was put together by people. And it's an incredibly large-scale production for something that was so craft-led. It is let down slightly by its runtime. It's a bit too long, and its interpretation of the text has been controversial to some, especially women, who see there being a bit more of a through line in the kind of narrative to grief and being kind of abandoned by God in a very specific way. Hamnet is an adaptation of the book Hamnet by Chloe Zhao. The book is not by Chloe Zhao. Chloe Zhao adapted the book. It was produced by Steven Spielberg, if you can believe it. It is a very quiet art house version of pop fiction. It is very much, it had a very wide release because it's a very wide release film. It didn't feel big in scope, but it had a big release. It doesn't surprise me Spielberg produced it, because it felt like the kind of thing that came out back in the 90s, where they would really put budget behind something period piecey or something romantic. It does also feel like a quintessential Oscars film, you know, the Shakespearean loves, etc., and so forth. However, I think the big thing that has apparently let Hamnet down in the minds of a lot of other filmmakers I've discussed and talked to is Paul Mescal's performance, which kind of feels a bit overcooked. Some people are even saying that Jessie Buckley's performance was overcooked, which I think is taking it a bit too far. But Chloe Zhao's type of filmmaking is very, very minimalistic. And if you don't hit exactly the right chord with the way Zhao films, the way Zhao is patient with her camera, you are going to end up feeling overcooked in that world. One Battle After Another is an adaptation technically of a book, but it is so far away from that book, and I can't even remember the title of the book, that it may not even matter that it was an adaptation, by Paul Thomas Anderson. It is a beautiful and sprawling portrait of one very specific phenomenon of generational struggle across fatherhood and the concept of American fatherhood across the spectrum of politics. It has an amazing ensemble cast. I think the script is fantastic, if a little bit rambly, and the performances were fantastic, as I said. It's a Paul Thomas Anderson film, so it's incredibly shot, like really well shot and really well edited, the classic way, the old-fashioned way, the 1970s way. It is a little bit too long. It is a little bit too rambly. It is a little bit too unfocused. I would say specifically in the third act, it loses its sense of focus, and it actually, for some people have even said they feel it loses its message entirely in the third act. I would say it just about holds it together, the message of kind of fatherhood across generations, the difference between nature and nurture, who is and isn't related to you, what that means, American violence in regards to patriarchy, right? All of it tying back to the idea of patriarch, father, pater, that kind of thing. In the kind of Greek sense, it is just a film about what a father's effect can be. Right? What is under the purview of a dad to actually accomplish? And that's very fitting for Paul Thomas Anderson, who's grappling with that kind of idea as his kids get older. It's a very, very, very brilliant film. It's really good. It won't beat Sinners, in my opinion. Sentimental Value is a film by Joachim Trier. He is a Norwegian filmmaker, and it stars Stellan Skarsgård, which, if you don't know, he's Swedish, so he's speaking Swedish in a Norwegian film. It's very interesting, or he's kind of in this odd space in between, and it creates this separation between the dad and his daughters. I loved it. It was an incredibly patient, beautiful, brilliant film about the effects of generational trauma, and also that profound sadness at the heart of us all. Like, the profound sadness at the heart of us all. You know, the profound sadness at the heart of all of us. Like that. That's what the film is about. And it gets around to that in a very Oscar baity way, which is it's talking about making a film. So there's a film being made at the center of the story, and at the center of the story is a script and a story, and it's that story within a story. And as much as I loved that as a film, up against such complex work this year, it doesn't hold the same weight. But on its own, as a film, if I were not looking at it as an Academy Awards Best Picture nominee, it is one of the strongest films made last year. So that's everything that's been nominated for Best Picture and my thoughts on it. Hopefully that gives you some background on what the vibes are